everyone. Thank you so much for your time today. My name is Joy, and I'm part of the meldCX team leading strategy and development globally for the business. Today, I would like to share about our team and how we have created AI building blocks using our analytics platform, which is called Viana, to help accelerate the IoT and data-driven journey for our customers and partners. So a little bit about meldCX and who we are. So with meldCX, meldCX actually stands for melding the customer experience. And who we are as a team is really all about driving premier customer experiences using edge and AI technologies. And so we came out from a broader group of companies that has backgrounds in hardware, and we've been given the mandate to just take best of breed technology, combine that with best of breed hardware into the software platform that we are now. And so we work with partners like Intel, Cisco Meraki, Microsoft, and Google. And using our AI platform, Viana, essentially what we do is give autonomous devices the ability to see, analyze, engage, and make actionable decisions seamlessly. So what we really like to say is that we teach machines to see like humans and use our portal to surface and consolidate data to tell a story, create an intervention, or drive action or insight. So a little bit more about our portal. Viana stands for Vision Analytics. And what we have is a simple to use end-to-end platform built using best of breed technology from Intel, Google, and Microsoft that can identify humans and objects, monitor anomalies to present logical and unbiased outcomes. We have rolled the product out in 3 continents and have customers in multiple verticals like retail, banking, enterprise. And what has really resonated with these customers is the way we approach AI. So I think AI in general is a really big beast, but what we really seek to do is to democratize it. So we want to break it down, make it easy to consume, and be palatable. And so I'll talk about this more and the building blocks we have later on in the presentation. But what we found really resonates with these customers as well is our edge-based anonymized approach. So on the screen here, you'll see 6 key things that we adhere to as a brand. So from a privacy perspective, we ensure that all faces are blurred in streams. We capture from sensors, like a Meraki camera, and that no identifiable data is stored or streamed, which is really important because we want to make sure that we process everything at the edge. From a security perspective, our platform is also used for payments, and we've achieved what we call PCI Level 1 certification. On top of that, because of some of the clients that we've worked with, we've undergone multiple security and risk assessments, especially with clients in the logistics and banking space. And lastly, as a vision analytics company, we have also learned that a person is more than a face. So as a team, we track facial coordinates. So this could range from things like age, gender, sentiment. But one important thing to note is we don't do facial recognition. But what we do is add more facial coordinates like the ones I spoke about before, and we add more detail and depth to the anonymized persona by combining things like object, so clothes a person is wearing, and non-face behavior like gait and aggression. So if you see on the slide here, this is an example of all the points of reference that we can track on an anonymized individual, which is then tokenized and can be slotted into a unique persona to provide further insight. So one of the other key things that the Viana product does is something in what we call reidentification. So what we do is aggregate video feeds across multiple cameras using physical characteristics like apparel and accessories to track the anonymized person on their journey through multiple zones, in per se a retail store. And what this does is allow us to do the following. So it allows us to understand how they are interacting across different zones, the time they are spending in each zone, which really gives us a good indication of products or items that they may be interested in. So how do our customers and partners engage with meldCX? So as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, we spoke about developing building blocks and our team's goal to democratize AI and make it consumable for all verticals. So in general, there are 3 ways we engage with customers. So the first way, is off-the-shelf modules that we have, or what we like to say, ready to go. The second is, to add your own AI model. And the third way is where we build personalized data sets for greenfield use cases with our customers. And we've built these 3 building blocks and provided multiple ways to engage with the meldCX team so that we would be able to service organizations who are on different stages of their data and AI journey. And so how we see this is, if you're starting out and you want to quickly validate a use case for business, pick one of our off-the-shelf or ready-to-go modules. It's designed so that you can configure without needing a developer or a data engineer, which makes it really easy and simple. And if you started, you have some modules, models that you've created, but are really looking to expand your use case, we've got another way to engage with us, which is all about adding your existing AI and ML models and algorithms on our platform. And the third, obviously, if there's something entirely greenfield that you like to try, we can work with your team to train new AI data sets and support new use cases. And so I'll unpack a little bit about how, customers have been, in the various verticals have been making use of these building blocks in the next few slides that are coming up. So as you can see on the screen of this particular slide, this is an example of all our available off-the-shelf modules applied in a connected workspace scenario. So some of these modules include entry monitoring, which is a module which we use to track the ins and outs of foot traffic to see how many people are in a zone, who's coming in and who's coming out. We also have in our ready-to-go modules, SAMI, which is basically our surface tracking, cleaning, and compliance module, where what we do is we overlay heat mapping technology with camera feeds to monitor high traffic or high touch environments to understand if we need to dispatch more cleaning staff to the area instead of waiting for set cleaning times. And what this particular module does as well is it provides a digital cleaning manifest, which means that you're able to track who has cleaned it, at what time, and which particular zone they have cleaned. So imagine instead of having your clipboard with tick box and crosses, you'll be able to have something electronic this time, so a digital manifest. Lastly, as well, one of our ready-to-go modules includes zone engagement, which I mentioned before is what we do with tracking anonymized personas and their movements across the different sections in the floor. And so all these modules are available now and use the same hardware infrastructure to enable, which really means that our customers and partners can use the same upfront OpEx cost to prove and validate use cases before scaling. And so you're able to really try, start, and understand your data-driven journey before having to make that huge investment when it comes to productization. This next slide shows all the existing ready-to-go off-the-shelf modules, which I spoke about just now, but applied in a retail scenario. So if you have a look, it has one exception, however, in the little red box that we've boxed up, which is the add your own model option. And in this scenario, a retail customer could bring existing models for their retail product and add them to our platform. And what this really means is, as Meld, we could use a customer's existing data sets to identify a product, or we could just start here by using the standard meldCX Viana model and pinpointing the exact location on the shelf so that you don't have to train more data sets. And lastly, in this scenario for healthcare, as you can see, we are continuing to use the ready-to-go modules like entry monitoring, zone engagement, and our surface awareness modules. But if you have a look, there are some personalized modules like fall detection and aggressive behaviors, which we've marked out in the little black boxes with the red exclamation points. So these are our personalized modules, which means that there's usually additional training that we do as a team within a particular environment, like a hospital hallway, so that we can really personalize this for you, the customer, for the partner. And so I guess the question is really, what Intel products do we use? Or rather, what have we leveraged from the Intel ecosystem to deliver our AI solutions? And so as a quick summary, we use two key products from Intel. If you recall earlier on in my presentation, I mentioned that we build and process our models at the edge, and we use Intel core processors ranging from i5 to i7 and the select edge devices to give us that additional grunt that we need for analytics. On top of that, we also use Openvino to optimize our models. And so to illustrate, we have a little video here to show you how Openvino powers Viana's deep learning.
Machine learning models constantly infer. But when there's a high demand to infer, models could run low on energy and unable to keep up. We can power up these models, making them process heavier loads of data and perform faster and more efficiently.
So where are we rolled out and who do we service? We'll take the next few slides to show you some of our customers and the exciting use cases that we've worked with together with them and taken our product to market. One of our customers is one of the big four banks in Australia, Westpac. Westpac uses some of our ready-to-go modules like audience measurement and content effectiveness to understand how the in-bank customers are interacting with digital content in branches. Through this, they are able to understand, what really counts as effective content and which audience segments are more receptive to the various messaging that they have in store. And so this slide that comes after really, illustrates how we combine Viana, or what we capture from vision analytics and the data we've got, we've combined that together with proof of play data. And what we essentially do is we detect, facial coordinates that are used to inform things like age, gender, and sentiment. So are they happy or are they neutral? As well as gaze to see if they're watching the content for its entire duration of play. So these stats are then compiled and delivered in monthly or quarterly reports back to the bank's retail and product teams for analysis. And this is where they can really deep dive and understand, is this particular piece of content like a first home loan tailored towards, a younger demographic, or should I be targeting more of a mid-range? Who's really interested to hear this in bank? For those who are interested as well, we also have a white paper on this use case. So please visit our website or our LinkedIn page to download the white paper and to learn more. We also have a hybrid approach with AI and data with Australia Post. So the image you see on screen here is an example of a personalized AI use case that we've worked on with the Australia Post team. And this particular use case was also demonstrated together with Intel at NRF, which is the National Retail Federation show in New York in 2020. So what this essentially was is we worked with Australia Post to come up with a custom kiosk that really was all around automating the parcel lodgement process. So we were, some key outcomes included, reducing person-to-person contact and queue time. So imagine if you could put a parcel on the scale, have your handwriting for addresses be recognized. That kiosk could also weigh your parcel. You could pay for this and then drop it off at one of the, parcel chutes. So that's essentially what the use case was. And this is an example of a personalized use case that, totally greenfield example that we've worked with Australia Post on. And so, this is part of some other projects in the pipeline, that combines ready to go and personalized parcel lodgement behavior tracking with the team at Australia Post. So all I can say is, continue to watch this space. We've got a lot more that's happening with this particular customer. In this next slide, we're also working with a large electronics retailer in Australia to really use vision analytics to track customer flow and behavior, not only inside their retail stores, but also outside. And, some of the core outcomes they wanted were to use vision analytics to understand, which zones customers are spending the most time in. Number two, what products they interact with the most frequently. And then number three, because we do have some cameras pointing outside of the store, to also understand how much of the percentage of customers are actually, more inclined to do click and collect instead of going into store. And, I guess that lastly, really, how can we help you be successful in implementing your AI use case? So, as a business, I think the one thing that we really believe in is to start small, prove value, and then scale. So if you're just starting the journey, as I mentioned before, we have a range of ready-to-use building blocks that you can take advantage of for a quick POC before you scale. We've got modules that range from, things like vehicle counting to audience measurement, content effectiveness, even entry monitoring. So these are all ready to use. You can deploy them quickly and easily. And if you have a greenfield use case that you'd like to explore, please reach out to our team and we love to hear from you. And one thing that we usually do is we love to work with our customers and partners on what we call personalized solutions jam sessions. And it's in these sessions that, we sit, we brainstorm what you are facing in your industry, what you're facing and what are some of the key pain points, partners like yourselves or customers are facing, and find a joint path to really help you in your data and your AI journey. And on top of that, we also have, heaps of content or collateral to assist. So, please do visit our website, our LinkedIn page for white papers, blogs, or just to really get in touch. And so, really want to thank everyone again for your time today, and a huge shout out to the Intel team, for the opportunity to present. Thank you so much. If you would love to connect, I put my details in the link on the screen as well. So we would love to hear from you. So yeah, please reach out and, we're here to help you plan your data-driven journey together.